the concept that we're going to share today is the concept of stretch and recoil. Okay, stretch and recoil. Stretch, and then it recoils, and stretch. Okay, so this concept, you guys, is called elasticity of your fascia and of your muscles. And when you have this nice elastic sensation in your bodies, you're going to prevent yourself from getting injured, because a lot of times you're injured because it's tight, right? And then you overstretch, right? It's going to support your joints better, right? To give your joints ability to move the way they should, but also stability, right? So I'm going to give you two analogies of what our fascia looks like. I learned this from Tom Meyer, so thank you, Tom, for this. Great analogy. First of all, anybody see this? This is felt. You can hardly see that. It's kind of dense in there, right? Maybe you can see a little bit of light in there, okay? So our fascia and our muscles can get very, very dense like this if we don't stretch it and we don't move it. He had a really great picture of an old grandpa. How many people are grandpas? You're not old, though, if you're a grandpa, okay. In this class, you are not. Okay, but he had a picture of an older grandpa. And the grandpa's calf muscles, look like this. Very densely knitted calf muscles. So do you think that he's got good circulation in his feet? Probably not, right? So that whole idea of prancing, so everybody, we're going to prance in the chair. This little idea takes that fascia and those muscle fibers and starts to stretch them out and make them into a little bit more open kind of weaving. And the opposite is this beautiful fascia. It's like a net. Remember I told you about fascia is a net? This is a net. So when it comes over your skin, right, and you can stretch and it can recoil and it has so much room to move. Right? If your fascia and your muscles are like this, you're not going to be moving very much, right? So now we're going to practice what does stretch and recoil feel like. Okay. So we're going to go with our arms like this. See this kind of like recoil? Stretch. And a recoil and a stretch. Good. In any direction, you guys. You can go like this and maybe one goes up or down. That kind of motion. It's almost like my friend James Knight calls it a body yawn. Right? So there's that little resistance as we're going out and the little resistance as we're coming in. That's what's going to take your fascia and make it long and spacious and all those little netting spaces. Good. So when we do movements, like we can do a movement like this, right? We can do a movement like this. Stretch, recoil. Stretch and recoil. Let's do this guy out. Stretch, recoil. Little resistance coming in, right? Stretch and recoil. And we do this a lot in class, don't we, you guys? We do a lot of these movements, and this is the reason why. We're getting that nice mobility into the fascia as well as the muscles. Good, let's do them both. Let's just stretch, maybe an arch, and recoil, maybe a hug, and then an arch, and then a hug.